So the first question was about a company that has 300 employees and is looking to increase it by 4 employees per month. And you're supposed to create a linear model. Remember, model in your head should mean equation. And when it says linear model, you should be thinking y equals mx plus b, which means you should be thinking y equals x plus And the two questions we have to answer are, what's the starting point and how is it changing? So we really have just two numbers to choose from. What did you come up with in terms of the starting point and the how is it changing?
I think 300 is the starting point.
Agreed.
And
And the other one is
4.
how it's changing, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the hints there is that it's 4 employees per month. That's a ratio, and that ratio is the slope. So that number goes there, and that number goes there. Y equals 4x plus 300 is the model, the equation that represents what's happening. We can see that because if we start at 0, we would have 300 employees. We get 1 month goes by, we'd have 304. 2 months, we'd have 300. 3 months, 312, and so on. Okay, so that's the basic linear model task that you want to be able to do, which is to create an equation. This one is probably on the easier side because there's no negatives. I didn't give you 2 data points, so you didn't have to work out the slope yourself. It was all kind of just provided for you directly, right? You want to make sure that you tackle some of those linear practice problems, and also I would take a look at some of the stuff in the book. You can use the videos to get more practice, but you want to be ready for some of those curveballs, like maybe there's a minus here, or maybe there's a minus here. And also wanting to make predictions like where would we be in 2 years, or how long is it going to take for there to be 500 employees, something like that. Okay, question 2 is an exponential model, and I don't remember what the question was. Phone has a value of 700 and it loses 30% of its value each year. Okay, so one of the things that I was really trying to highlight on Monday was the similarity between the questions here. One of the questions you need to answer is where is it starting, and the other is how is it changing. Because this is exponential, you need to be going towards this model, right, where it has an exponent, and the starting value is going to be this one, and this is going to be how it changes. But how it changes, I wanted you to associate this word with that spot, and I'm hoping that you're connecting it to the work we did with the percent change, where you find the multiplier. So let's see what we did with that one. 700 is the starting point. And what about this multiplier? That's kind of the hard mathematical work that needs to be done to finish this model.
I got 1.3.
Okay, not bad. You're in the right ballpark because you're talking about a multiplier, and sounds like you went through the multiplier process, but take a careful look at the question, because the phone is not increasing in value, it's decreasing in value, right? This is typically what happens to things that we buy. They get less valuable as we use them and own them, cars, phones, you know. So if it decreases by 30%, the multiplier is not going to be 1.3. What's it going to be? Go back through that multiplier process, but go down instead of going up. Anybody can chime in here. What's the multiplier if we're decreasing 30%? Davida, you got it?
70.
0.7.
0.7, right.
0.7.
Because we want to turn it into its decimal version, right? Multiplying by 0.7 makes something go down by 30%. So that's it. That's all you need to make the model. Y equals 700 times 0.7 to the x. That's what it looks like. Was there anything else to do with that, or was that the whole point of the question? Make an exponential model, oh, and use it to predict the value in 5 years. Just trying to model, sorry, double use of the word model, trying to reinforce one of the things that you should be doing as a math student, which is once you do something and you say, haha, I did it, you should go back and look at the problem again and say, wait, did I actually do everything I was intended to do, or have I just accomplished one thing? Because sometimes you're so proud of yourself for getting there, you're like, oh, yes, boom, in your face. And then you're like, ah, man, I forgot the second half of the problem. Okay. So how would I do this 5-year part?
Put the 5-year where the X is.
Nice. 700, 0.7 to the 5. And then all you really need is calculator skills from here. So make sure that you can do that exponent, multiplication, order of operations, who happens first, really is very dependent on the calculator that you own. Every calculator has a different button. For instance, this calculator, has a button kind of here that does the exponent thing. But
you want us to round the answer? Oh, you want us to round the answer or no?
Okay, good question, Roderick. What kind of thing are we talking about? What are the units of this answer?
Oh.
Sorry, I don't understand. Now, so Google can improve, it would help to know how
Get out of here.
satisfied you are.
Hush. Goodness. Google. Terrorist. Okay. What are the units of this thing?
It's a dollar amount, so it would be 2 places.
Yeah, it's money. Right. And again, there's no instructions here, so you make a choice, right? But that's how you would go about thinking about it. What am I talking about? How does it make sense to round it? I would say either to the nearest dollar or to the nearest cent. Okay, you got an answer? I'm going to go with $117. $1.65 or $118. Good. Those are two different but good roundings, equally good. Now, if you're not coming up with that, there's something going wrong in how you're calculating or how you're interpreting how to write that, and we just need to talk about that. Probably be better on the side, do a little one-on-one. All right, I'm going to clear this screen. Anybody have anything they want to? I should be able to post these images, but anyways, I'll have these recordings up for you. All right, let's look at this last problem, this last warm-up problem. The question was, Michael has 3,000 followers and increases by 10% per week, and we want to know how many weeks it's going to take to hit 100,000. Okay, and I did give you a hint, but it was kind of a vague hint about sub-questions. Anybody have any ideas about where to get started? This is a hard question.
The multiplier increased by 10%.
Okay, I like that. Increase by 10%, multiplier should be 1.1, right? And what can we do with that?
I said how many years would it take to get to do you multiply that with the 3,000?
Oh, we could. And if we do 3,000 times 1.1, that gives me 3,300. What does that tell me? Any ideas?
Well, that sounds a little too big.
Well,
so
what does it mean? This is how many...
Like it increased?
This is how many followers after 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, 3,300 is not the answer to the question.
I was gonna say now, take the 3,300 and divide by 100,000. Or 100,000 divided by 3,300.
Okay. What's that give us?
$30.30.
Okay.
So about 30 weeks and a couple days for him to reach that point. Or 3 days for him to reach that point.
Right. Well, I mean, you've done some math. You've come up with a number. You're wondering if it's right. Just we're in the middle of a test, you know, you wouldn't be able to ask me if it's right. I'm wondering whether this part kind of leads you to thinking about a model. We've got a multiplier of 1.1. That's what a 10% increase is. What kind of model are we making here? A linear or exponential?
A linear?
Not with the multiplier. With the 10% increase, that's a constant relative change, and that indicates that we would be talking about the other kind.
Exponential. This is going to be increasing.
Exponential, right?
Yeah.
And
Linear
so
is
what would my
straightforward.
model look like? Y equals to the x.
1.1 is going to be in the little bracket.
Good, that's right, because that's the multiplier. And where's the starting point?
The 3,000.
3,000.
Okay. Now, this is not the answer to the question.
Yeah, just setting it up.
But this is a structure to think about how it's going to grow. Now, the hard part of this question is really that we need to work out when it's going to hit 100,000. We don't have the algebraic skills to solve this, and you don't really want the algebraic skills to solve this. It would require a lot of pain and suffering. It's unnecessary. What you can do is you can just use the structure to do some trial and error. For instance, we know that after 1 week, we've added 300 followers. Well, you got to go a lot farther than that to get up to 100,000, right? So make a guess for how many weeks you think it's going to take. Now, Roderick came up with 30 weeks, right? So what happens if you put 30 in here? Let's just use that as a starting point. What is 3,000 times 1.1 to the 30th power? What do you get? How many followers are we talking about?
It's way more than 100.
52,000.
Yeah, not more than 100,000. We don't have enough yet. 30 weeks would be 52,348.
348.
Okay, if you didn't get that, there's something going wrong with the calculator use. Take a picture of your calculator and send it to me. I can give you some feedback. So we need more weeks or less weeks?
More weeks. Almost double.
Yep.
Yeah.
Double might not be a good guess because remember, this is exponential growth. This is not going like this, it's going like this. So the further we get into it, the steeper it's going to get, the more we're going to gain. For instance, another 10% of this is going to be 5,000. We're going to get 5,000 new followers this next week. So we're not going to need 30 more weeks to get there. But the way you solve this problem, the point is through trial and error. So maybe you try 40 next, maybe you try 35 next, and you see, you know, how many weeks is it going to take me to get there? You're not going to find the number that gives you exactly 100,000. You're going to find the number that puts you over the top, and then that's going to be your answer. That's how many weeks it's going to take. Okay, I'm going to give you a minute to just do some trial and error and see what you can find. It may sound not very satisfying, but trial and error is a perfectly acceptable way to solve difficult problems.
I don't know.
Somebody
I came
come
up
up
with
with
about
something?
36 weeks.
That's very close. 36 puts you a little bit under.
Under,
and
yeah,
so
but
37
37
would be
takes us
37
like
would be the
over.
first one that puts you over. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for 100,000 followers, you got to wait at least, somewhere into 37 weeks.
37. Oh, yeah.
So it would be 37, even though it is over 100,000, and you're asking.
Well, the problem is 36 hasn't got you there yet, right?
All right.
So if we're looking for 100,000 followers and you say it'll take 36 weeks, well, yeah,
Okay.
it's close, but
Right, it's
you're not
okay.
there yet.
Okay.
Right? This isn't The Price is Right, so it's okay if we go.
Okay.
I mean, you get somewhere close. I'm going to give you credit for it. It's because you're poking around in the right place. Okay. So I wanted to make sure you saw an example of that type of problem because that's for sure going to come up on the test.